It's interesting. I I had a practice. I did what they told me to do in college, where I had people eat less food, do the exercise, eat better. Yet I only had a certain percentage of people getting results. And I asked myself, why do some people get results and other people don't? Because I would get good results on certain things, and I noticed that certain body types didn't respond to the diet that I had them on. So I tried different diets. I did high protein, I did more vegetarian diets, and I was somewhat successful. But one thing that stood out is that when people had belly fat, I would have them do sit-ups, and I would have them do all sorts of exercise, and they would never lose weight, except the ones that had the protruding belly. So I said, there has to be a reason for this. So I started to kind of try to get more information about what's inside that could create that. And I knew something about cortisol, but I didn't really understand a lot at the time. I mean, I studied in school, but I didn't really connect the dots. And I think a lot of doctors right now don't connect the dots. So I came across George Washington's medical school's library, and then they had an offshoot of a bookstore. Okay, I went to the bookstore, and I bought pretty much every book on endocrinology, which is a study of hormones. And I thought maybe the answer is in the hormones, right? So I found a book that was on sale, and the name of the book was called SIBA, Encyclopedia of Endocrinology, Volume 4 by Frank Netter. Okay, so I opened this book, and it had all these great graphic pictures of the body and how the body worked. And I started thumbing through, and when I hit cortisol, I was like, oh my goodness. It had a picture of all these patients that I've been trying to get rid of their belly fat, and the exact picture of them right there. I'm just like, wow, it's high cortisol causes belly fat. Interesting. So it actually causes the weight to be deposited around the vital organs as a survival mechanism. And I noticed that there's a whole bunch of other issues associated with the adrenal body type. You have blood sugar issues, diabetes, craving for salty foods. You had excessive thinking, memory loss, inflammation. That would include all the pain that people have. You have allergies. You have weakness in the legs. You have insomnia. You have high blood pressure. All these symptoms. And I'm going, oh my goodness, this is interesting. So then I started noticing that people that had belly fat, they had a lot of these characteristics. So I started to develop kind of a category of different body types at that point. And at that point, I only had 3 body types. It was very funny because I wrote a book about it, and it was like these cartoon pictures, it was just a joke because I actually cut and pasted them. But I didn't really know a program to help these people until a little bit later. But I started formulating the body type concept. And then I found another picture of the thyroid body type right in this book. And it had all the characteristics. It had weight gain all over, it had fatigue, it had loss of the outer eyebrows, dry skin, vertical ridges on the nails. We had little indentations on your teeth, all these different symptoms. Then I scanned over and I found the ovary body type, which is heaviness in the weight, in the lower part of the hips, like the saddlebag area, little pooch underneath the stomach, with all sorts of ovarian issues. So here I found 3 body types that start to formulate my whole theory about the body type concepts. At that point, though, I didn't know how to deal with it. I just knew that there was different problems that I kept running into with people based on where they hold the weight. So then, of course, I bought all of the volumes that Frank Netter had, and one of them was the liver type, because I read them all cover to cover many times. And I noticed that you had the guy, you ever see the guy with the beach and the Speedo with the pot belly? I've noticed that there was a body type like that, but that wasn't a fat situation. It was a liver issue that was leaking fluid into a sac around the abdominal area. So that would make sense, because when you put these people on a lot of dark leafy greens, all that potassium will push the fluid out and they'll lose weight real fast. That explained why they got results. And the reason why the adrenal case didn't work with the belly fat is because that was a cortisol situation. And the more exercise that they did, the worse it would get. So then I said, okay, the problem is not really in the hormones. It's in the glands, the thyroid, the adrenal, the liver, the ovary. So I said, well, what would it take to fix the gland? Because no one's talking about the gland. How do you fix the gland? Well, each gland needs different nutrients. It responds differently to different foods. And for example, the adrenal is the vitamin C reserve. The iodine is needed for the thyroid. And certain cruciferous vegetables are really good for the ovary. So based on what's happening to the gland, I match the foods and the exercise that help heal the glands. And that's what developed the body type concepts. It started out pulling a string, investigating, going deeper and deeper and deeper into the real cause of why people develop the body type shapes and how to undo it. And so I tested these theories, I modified them, I tweaked them for the last 20 years, and came up with the body type program that I do now, that I've had people all over the world come to my office and they fly in and we help them. So that's a little story of how I came up with the body types.